few riders now coming onto the track, and that's for the points race, the final discipline within the Omnium series, the men's Omnium points race coming up now, the fourth of the 4 races, although they did have those qualifying points races earlier this afternoon. So they've actually had 5 races. Well, this will be the 5th race for all these Omnium riders, and most of them were in the team pursuits also. So a lot of racing for the endurance guys as well. Lindsay de Vilder, he's leading the way on 112 points, only 6 points now ahead of Campbell Stewart. So the points they were gaining from each of the individual rounds now get tallied together. So they start this final points race with their overall standings. Sprint every 10 laps, like we saw in the Madison, 5, 3, 2 and 1. It's over 100 laps, double points on the final sprint, as it was in the Madison as well for the women. 10, 6, 4 and 2. So much can change with so many points on offer in this final race. Laps gained, of course, also 20 points for anyone that's capable of doing that. And I can guarantee you there will be multiple laps taken in this race.
Yeah, I think Ollie Wood, he was caught napping underneath in the elimination. I think he's going to be hungry to move up some places. I think Roger Klug, he'll be definitely looking to do what he does best, and that is just go one after the other, after the other, after the other. So if I was looking to take a lap, I'd be looking for his wheel there. He is in the shot. So yes, it's going to be good. The last one after a very big day. They had the points race to qualify this morning as well. So this is the 5th race of the day. A lot of the riders did the team shoot yesterday.
What do you think they're saying? Campbell Stewart, Ollie Wood. You think Campbell's saying, mate, what happened in the elimination? Why'd you go out so early?
Or are they talking about the road scene? Who knows?
I'm not sure about the road racing to come. They've got a little bit of focus here. He is a rider that has not performed to the level that we've seen him in the past. Roger Kluger, the big German. And we'll see what he's able to pull out now. Rides for the Lotto Destiny team as the lead-out man, integral part for the finishes for the Australian Caleb Ewan, 37 years of age.
Our race leader, Lindsay de Vilder, with the opening win in the scratch race. Recently married is Campbell Stewart, the young Kiwi. He's still young, yet he's got so many amazing titles to his name. Also a very nice guy. Just, you know, one of those good guys. Just so nice.
Sitting in 3rd place, William Tidball. So he's on 98 points, still certainly within contention, sitting in the bronze medal position right now. 4th place from Spain. This is Campbell Stewart again, 2nd place, but Sebastian Mora, he sits in 4th place, 88 points. He missed out a little bit in the elimination. He was one of the midfield eliminated riders. That cost him dearly. He's got a little bit of work to do if he wants to keep himself back up in the mix. Here we go. That's Mora now coming up onto the start line. Broken chain at the start of the previous race. So all fixed up and ready to go.
This is Thomas Bedard. So he also had an elimination race that I don't think he'd be satisfied with. So he's going to have to take some laps.
Well, he sits in 6th place on 82 points. And if you take a lap, there's 20.
Yep.
Plus whatever sprint points you might gain on the way around as well. So there are several riders right down to 6th, 7th, 8th place that are potentially able to get themselves the win overall, but definitely possibly there's a oxymoron, of getting themselves onto the podium. So the race is not over, and what typically does happen, Nettie, as you know, in these races, the top 3 or 4 riders start to really focus on each other. That creates an opportunity for the riders sitting in 5th, 6th and 7th to jump away and steal multiple laps. You get 2 or 3 laps, 40 to 60 points gain. That's huge.
That's it. And if you take 1 lap, so that's 20 points. Whilst you're out there, you're probably going to be stealing some points as well. So if you go through 2 sprints, that's 30 points. So Thomas Boudard, he's on 82 points. Bang, he could be in the lead in front of Lindsay. So it's it's still anybody's game.
Clucas swings up. Hashimoto does likewise, and just slowly getting themselves up and going. 98 laps to go when they come around. Sprint every 10 laps for 5, 3, 2 and 1 points. Campbell Stewart now, the next one to go to the top of the track. It's always intriguing just to see the tactics employed by the top riders. And, of course, they must monitor the riders that are close to them on the points. But if you've got a really strong rider that maybe had a mishap in the elimination or one of the earlier rounds that's desperate to go on the attack, they can get themselves back into this race. Ollie Wood is a good example of a rider that needs to do that now as well from Great Britain. So he's down in 11th place on 63 points. But he'll be hunting a good performance, and he can only do that by taking a lap or two.
Yeah. I reckon Ollie Wood, Roger Kluger. We'll have, I reckon, Sebastian Moore, as you say. They're all, Thomas Boudard, they're all going to be really on the hunt. So if I was anyone else in that field, I would be looking at those wheels if I want to get away. So, say, Graham Frisley, he's a youngster from Australia. I think he's down in 15th of spot. So he's got some points he needs to achieve. So I think for him, trying to get a lap, that would be a good start. Because the thing is, it is hard. It's hard because everyone has a similar idea. So, and a lot of people don't want other people to have get a lap. So it is quite challenging to be able to get away in a race like this.
Most of them know what to do. It's just whether they can. Aya Hashimoto, the winner of the elimination race last night for Japan, sneakily going off the front. He's down in 16th place on 30 points. There'll be no scrutiny coming from the top riders because Hashimoto's gone off the front. He's not in overall contention. So this is an opportunity for the well-credentialed Japanese rider. You mentioned Graham Frisley needs to go for one of these attacks. He has done that. He's trying to come out to this man, Hashimoto, now. There he is, Frisley, as he comes through with 92 laps to go. There'll be a sprint coming up next time, the first of the intermediates. The riders in front now certainly will be in the points mix. So Hashimoto on his way, possibly to 5 points in this first of the sprints. But here comes Graham Frisley, young Australian. Big effort from him as he comes up onto the back wheel of Hashimoto.
So he's going to get there, go straight around, get some points, and then he should carry on with this one and keep the momentum.
There it is, 5 points, the first sprint of the points race here in the Omnium. And Graham Frisley, Grizzly Frisley, as they call him. He was born in Montana in the USA, hence the Grizzly name, with all the bears over there, but very much an Aussie. Part of the Australian Team Pursuit program, one of the young riders within that, and 5 points to him, Hashimoto with the 3.
So Lindsay de Wilde, he's making sure he's staying at the front. He's leading this race, but he wants to stay in control. So he's staying amongst those front wheels. Happy to let some people go off the front. Aya Hashimoto, he's going again. He's quite far down, number 16 on the rankings. So it's actually, there's Sebastian Moore. He also wants to get away. So he's been active at the front. We'll swing up to the top now.
Didn't have the same kind of impetus, though, was it, the attack from Hashimoto this time compared to the previous?
No, they swing up again. So that every time that they have these little digs, that actually does cost a little bit of effort. So it's often good to try and save it up and go for one hit. And if it doesn't work, get back in on those wheels.
So no change in the top 3 positions after that first sprint, but in 4th, Sebastian Mora picking up 2 points. He goes up to 90 points, staying still within 4th. 8 points is the difference between him and the bronze medal position held by William Tidbill. He's on 98, Mora on 90, but it's still de Wilde 112 versus 106 with Campbell Stewart in second.
So 5 laps until the next sprint. Everybody's swinging up the track. It's been a bit negative. I think they might wait for this next sprint, and then we might see some attacks afterwards.
Still a few laps, though, before they need to set themselves up. But you don't want to go too far back in the field. Anything can change. Too far back, you'll be out of contention, or you'll have to put in an enormous effort to get closer to the points, and you don't want to waste too much energy so early on in a race like this. There's the focus on first and second. De Wilde from Belgium.
Following Campbell Stewart glued to his wheel.
Absolutely, isn't he? Absolutely.
Don't want to let him out of his sight. Still 6 points in it.
But that is what we were talking about before. You have de Wilde following Stewart, but that could open up an opportunity for Tidbill or Mora or Hansen or Boudard to do something and get away from those 2 top riders.
It's all bunching up. They're starting to wind up with 2 laps to go till the sprint when they come around.
And that'll flick over now. So it's Bell as Hashimoto comes through out of the saddle. And it's 1 and 2 trying to come around the outside. Campbell Stewart from New Zealand. Lindsay de Wilde sitting in behind him. Guillemette from Canada. But the strength of Hashimoto, he's fast, isn't he? He's trying to hold them off as they come into the finish. He'll get the 5 points. Ooh, super close between the top 2 in the overall classification, though. De Wilde may have pipped Campbell Stewart then.
It looked like he got it. Just.
And he didn't quite get there. So a big effort from de Wilde, but Campbell Stewart did finish second in that sprint. So 3 points to Stewart.
Ooh, Ollie Wood going up and around the outside.
Well, I think we signalled this attack, didn't we? We thought this is the man that could do it, would do it, should do it, and he has done it. So Ollie Wood off the front and a big move after that first sprint. And to his advantage, it's a few of the guys in the overall classification that were right behind. They don't want to waste energy. They've swung up the track. There's Hashimoto getting the 5 points in that previous sprint.
So Ollie Wood has made the move. Oh, there you go. There's the slow.
Ooh, it was very close between Stewart and de Wilde. But a big effort from de Wilde to no gain in the end. So 1 point advantage to Campbell Stewart.
Sorry, Ollie Wood is making huge gains. He's already 2/3 of a lap up, and his compatriot, William Tidball from Great Britain, is also on his way. So they're about 1/3 of a lap spaced from the Peloton.
Well, with Ollie Wood off the front, that's interesting. But with Will Tidball after him, that is extremely titillating because he is sitting in 3rd place overall, 98 points. And that has caused a reaction from the Peloton.
He picked an amazing moment. So that was when his first and second were sprinting each other. So Ollie Wood has already made contact.
That's him on the back
that's
there.
Him. He's just made contact. Wow. So yes, he timed his moment to perfection. So his first and second were sprinting each other, and then he went bang straight after that sprint when these other two had moved back into the peloton. So William Tidball, who's still out there, they've got a chasing group of 5 heading out after him, but no Campbell Stewart and no Lindsay de Wilde in that group of 5.
Next sprint now, and it will be Tidball that will get away with the 5 points. But because that group behind is chasing, that's close enough for the peloton to kind of be enticed to come out after them as well. So that's not doing Will Tidball any good at all. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to gain a lap. He does pick up the 5 points though. So that'll take him to 103.
Lindsay.
Still in 3rd place though.
So that is the chasing group, and that we have, that's Campbell Stewart, and he's in the chasing group. So after sprint 3 of 10, William Tidball got the 5 points, Tobias Hansen in 2nd. But this is the chasing groups coming back together now. William Tidball has been caught by the group of 8.
And that's that group just out in front there. So Tidball caught by that group. Campbell Stewart closing the gap to these leaders. And another little move off the front, Switzerland and Mexico. But the 20-point lap gain by Ollie Wood puts him up into 6th position. So he goes to 83 points, getting closer to possibly getting himself back up into the medal. So good performance there from Ollie Wood. Pina and Tidball, Mexico and Switzerland just off the front, 66 laps to go. So another 6 laps until the next sprint points on offer. Ollie Wood in the background swings up. And Baudin is the French rider. Next one to go up the track.
Zakharov from the Beat skin suit.
So
Clucas.
5 points is the difference in the overall standings. Real focus from Lindsay de Wilde on 2nd place rider Campbell Stewart. And of course you would. Campbell Stewart, so well credentialed in Omnium racing.
So here we have Graham Frisley, Aya Hashimoto, number 51, Daniel Christa. So they've headed off the front.
Good little move. This from riders down in the classification trying to move themselves up. We've seen Hashimoto do it a couple of times. Graham Frisley, he picked up the first sprint, chasing down Hashimoto to do so. And a good move from Daniel Christa. also to get out there as well. But there is a chase behind, and Oliver Wood is leading that group of 3 just behind, trying to keep himself in the points. Guillemette is there as well, as is Boudat.
Yeah, so if these guys can get together and start working together. Oh, we've got Sebastian Moore as well. There's coming into the bell lap, sprint lap, next lap round.
61 laps to go it is, and a big group forming off the front. It's Krista that leads them down the back straight. Hashimoto in second position, then Graham Frisley, then Thomas Baudat, the French rider, in 4th place. They will cross the line in that order.
So this is that group of 7. So Sebastian Moore has made it across, but I think there's a couple of riders that need to keep that pressure down. They have a nice gap on the peloton.
Really dangerous to see Mora go across to that group. If this goes on and they're able to get a lap on the field, another 20 points to Mora's tally, that'll put him right up in the overall standings. It'll actually take him to 2nd outright. So this is a really dangerous move.
So 60 laps to go. They're over a third of the way through. Remember, they've had four races behind them already.
Not overly organised out in front, though. That's a bit of an issue for them. And it is Lindsay de Wilde that's actually looking to close this one down. Guillemette from Canada out in front. Boudat is out there with him as well for France. But really messy. There was some potential in that group. They just weren't working very well together.
Yeah, but it's all strung out now. So Sebastian Moore just making contact. Here we have Ollie Wood swinging up. It's on, it's off, there's down, they're up. It's lots of gaps forming, everybody's on their knees, so lots of people trying to get away, but everyone has the same idea. No one wants to let anyone else go away, but they all want to try and do the same. So
there's a comment you just made then. They're all on their knees. That is the way it is in this, isn't it? It's such a fatiguing event. Their legs are so sore, they're so numb. And this is a big move, though. Campbell Stewart, his legs feeling a little bit better than everybody else's, perhaps. He dragged Tobias Hansen off the front with him. Hansen not able to contribute to the pace setting, though. So Campbell Stewart showing signs of some real strength. It's 54 laps to go.
That was closed down quite quickly by Lindsay de Wilde. Once again, whenever you see Campbell Stewart, you're going to expect to see de Wilde and vice versa. If de Wilde goes off the front, you're going to see Campbell Stewart right there.
Only 5 points between those two. 53 laps to go, so many points on offer. He's ridden so well, Lindsay de Wilde.
Zakharov off the front again. So he's being chased down by Sebastian Moore. So Sebastian again. Here he is trying to get that lap.
How strong has he been? Really good, Mora.
And you got Philip Heinen now trying to close that gap. So Phil was the one that went down in the tempo. He won the tempo in the end, but he's obviously feeling all right now. He's closing this gap.
Halfway point next time around. Next sprint's up for grabs. Mora's there. Vincent Hoppazak, Dutch rider in the black colours, out there in front. And yeah, we saw him in the tempo race riding well. Philip Heinen has bridged himself across, but the 5 points, that goes to Hoppazak.
I said Sakharov. Whoops. I keep saying it wrong. All right, and then we have Sebastian Moore, who's swung up. We have Philip Heinen. They've formed a group of 3, and we have Thomas Baudat in the no man's land at the moment, trying to make it across.
Well, with Sebastian Mora out there in this little group, they're not too far, you can see, to get into the back of the peloton. And the top 3 riders in de Wilde, Stewart and Tidball are allowing Sebastian Mora from Spain to come right back in contention for the overall standings and the gold medal. He had a bit of a hiccup in the elimination, didn't get the points that he was hoping, but he has rectified that in one foul swoop here. Just about to come onto the back of the peloton, 47 laps to go. And Sebastian Mora, they have backed off a little bit. I think perhaps they're wondering whether they can stay out there for the next sprint. And you can see the tactics of Mora. He's definitely hoping he can do that. It's a risky one, though, because if the pace picks up in the peloton, they may not get on at all.
And as you say that, we've got Campbell Stewart going off the front, so he's not someone you want to go off the front as you're just trying to make contact after taking a lap. So yes, they're all swinging up. I do have to say sorry, I'm calling Hoppazak Zakharov. Apologies to the Dutchies.
Well, in the gap, and you can see this is Philip Heinen getting himself the lap, always trying to. He's just about to get on, so he will get a lap gain, 20 points added to his tally as he gets on. Yet, Sebastian Mora has backed off a little bit with the acceleration that did come from Campbell Stewart. So there's the lap gain. So a good ride there from Philipp Heinen, 4th in the European Championships this year. And that he comes in 10th position overall on 76 points. He now goes to 96. So he'll go up to 4th place with that lap gain. And still plenty of action though in this front group. There's Tidbull in the green colours with the Union Jack. And a focus to the back of the peloton now, just coming into shot. They're the two riders that were with Philipp Heinen trying to take the lap.
So Hoppesack and Sebastian Mora. So they've got a bit of a gap. There's 2 of them, and there's another gap to Tobias Hansen and Thomas Bouda.
And they'll get 41 laps to go. So this is the front of the peloton. There's a big attack happening out in front with Ollie Wood, Campbell Stewart, and also Matthias from Poland. And while these 3 are going off the front, Sebastian Mora at the back of the peloton is about to pick up the points. 5 points. Actually, Hoppesack actually just dropped over the top of him. Then they'll get to the back of the peloton. Right, out in front, plenty of action going on. Mora has gained the back of the peloton. He'll get the 20 points lap gain. While he's gone and done that, the big contenders are now right out in front. A lot of pressure on the Belgian, though.
Yep, so now we have Tobias Hansen and Bouda. They are in front of the race. They've just gone out of shot. And then we have these 3 coming across. So Campbell Stewart, we have Ollie Wood, and we have Poland's mental blank. João Matthias. There we go. All right, so they're forming a group of 5. So that'll be nice and strong if they can get that lap.
Well, if all of the effort that Sebastian Mora did to put himself back in contention for the medals, and then while that was happening, he's allowed Campbell Stewart to go off the front. The rider that has missed this, though, this is the big thing, is Lindsay de Wilde, the overall standings leader from Belgium. He was glued to the back wheel of Campbell Stewart earlier on, but now Stewart has been unleashed. He's got up the front of the peloton.
Yeah, this is a major mistake from Lindsay de Wilde. We said that they would be following each person wherever they went. So Campbell Stewart has done a brilliant job to manage to dislodge him from his wheel and get off the front without him. So if he gets this lap, he will go up in 20 points, taking the overall lead.
Oh, he's definitely going to get it. 35 laps to go, and Campbell Stewart from New Zealand just about to come onto the back of the peloton. And again, there's a bit of a discussion amongst themselves as to whether they should or shouldn't. Can they hold on for the next sprint? That's what might be happening at the back of the field. So these are the leaders on the track at the moment. Lindsay de Wilde still leads the way, but that's about to change because Campbell Stewart is going to gain a lap. He will get the 20 points and he'll go to the outright lead. William Tidbull still holds down 3rd place at the moment. Philipp Heinen has jumped up to 4th, and Sebastian Mora is now sitting in 5th place.
So when they come around, they'll have 2 laps to go.
Actually, they have now updated that, so the points hadn't been given for the lap gain. Now it has been given to Sebastian Mora. He leads outright with the 20 points gained by taking a lap on the field. It's about to change, though, because the tactics of the group at the back, they're not wanting to get onto the peloton. They don't want to be given the lap gain just yet because they're trying to hold out for this next intermediate sprint. And it's too late, though. The peloton was going too slow. Campbell Stewart has jumped into the back of the peloton. He'll go to the top of the leaderboard. There you go. You can see on the left-hand top of the screen, 20 points have been added to Campbell Stewart's tally. He is now the new leader.
Yep, and as he's done that, we have Roger Clucas going off the front. So as we said, he's going to go and take some laps. So now it begins. So 30 laps to go. He's got some work to do, but he's now taken the 5 points for the sprint. And then they will carry on with this and try and go for the 20.
3 riders off the front. Peloton starting to disintegrate behind. Clucas picks up the 5 in front of Lang and Thibault from Switzerland. About a big change in the overall standings, though. 29 laps to go. Peloton not desperately trying to bring these three riders back because they are a long way down in the overall standings. Doesn't really matter to what's happening in the race for the medals, because that's been led now by Campbell Stewart of New Zealand, 120 points. Sebastian Mora jumping up into the silver medal position, and Lindsay de Wilde dropping down to bronze. A little bit of work to do. Still a race for the silver, perhaps, for de Wilde. There is the Belgian, just having to bridge gaps again. So it's really tough now for the Belgian. He's under scrutiny. He's in the spotlight, and Campbell Stewart is doing the interrogation.
Yeah, it's 26 laps to go. There are still double points on the final sprint, just like the Madison. So things can change. If de Wilde gets 10 points in that final one, he'll be jumping straight up to 124. So he'll be still in the mix. So anything can happen. Still a race underway.
Well, Campbell Stewart looking at this stage that he can confidently perhaps come away with the gold medal. It's not out of reach just yet. But Mora and de Wilde certainly in a race for silver at the moment. It's a little bit further back for Tobias Hansen. He's in fourth place on 109 points. So 5 points for him to get himself up into a bronze medal at this stage. 3 more sprints to come. They'll come around to get 23 laps to go. There's our 3 leaders.
Langer, Thibault and Clucas working very well together. We've got about half a lap up on the field.
They do have 2 chasers just behind these 3. But while they're out there, the longer they're out there, the more sprint points they are collecting, which will not be changing the overall standings for the medals. So if you're trying to move up, if you're Lindsay de Wilde, you really want to get these riders back into the peloton, so you've got a chance to pick up some points in these next sprints.
And I think Clucas, he needs more laps. I don't think the points are going to be the difference for him. So he's going to want to take a lap, and then he's going to want to go off again. But there's only 21 laps to go, so not a lot of laps left to do it.
Valerie Thibault from Switzerland coming around to pick up the 5 points with 20 laps to go ahead of Roger Clucas and Colby Langer. And Mathias Guillemette is about to get himself across to those 3. And you can see that at the top of the left-hand side there, they're about to get around. Now, this changes things a little bit as well. They'll get to the peloton, they'll get their 20 points for the lap gain, and that means there's some points back on offer again in these next 2 sprints for riders back in the peloton.
Well, Mathias, Tobias Hansen from Denmark is on his own. You can see him, top left-hand side of the screen. So he is now in the lead. So 18 laps to go.
So with the Roger Clucas group taking a lap on the field, we now go behind the large group we can see here. And just in the tops of the screen, there you go. There's your leader from Denmark going up around the left-hand side. So he'll pick up, if he can stay out there, he'll be the leader on the track for now. Campbell Stewart sitting in a very comfortable position. All the points being gobbled up by riders further down in the overall standings. Hansen, though, he does sit in 4th place on 109. But gee, he's doing it tough out there on his own. 6 laps for him to get to the next intermediate sprint. He's chasing the medals. He's sitting in 4th at the moment, but he's out there all on his own trying to get the job done. Big split in the peloton ahead. And there's a real chance that Hansen can get himself into the back of the field. And this is the split that's going off the front. It's Boudin from France that's forcing the pace. 15 laps to go. Sebastian Mora now.
He's hungry for more.
Mora wants more, and he's going for it.
And up.
He's dining out at the velodrome here in Jakarta. Up the track, back down again. Boudin doesn't want to come through. And Thibault from Switzerland now does.
So Campbell Stewart's just made it onto the back of that group. So it's slightly out of position before, but he's managed to close that gap.
Well, Campbell Stewart has gone down to the front, and he's just trying to keep the average speed of the peloton up. You can see the danger coming from Hansen, who's still trying to get onto the back of the peloton to gain the 20 points for the lap gain. So Stewart just dragging everybody forward a little bit, keeping the average speed high in the peloton, but you can see how much damage it's doing.
Yeah, he's always looking over his shoulder. He knows where his opponents are. He was looking at Lindsay de Wilde, but now he also has to look for Sebastian Mora. So Sebastian's straight on it. He's up at the front, always in contention. We have Tobias Hansen He looks like he's about to make contact, but it was 1 lap to go, so that was the bell. So if he comes around, he will take the 5 points.
And they do only ring the bell for the leader on the track. So the peloton sometimes don't realise where they sit. Hansen did come through to pick up the 5 points. So that actually puts him, depending on what happens in this sprint here, back in the field. Mora picks up the 3 points for second. Hansen, he will move up to equal third place with Lindsay de Wilde with 1 sprint still to come. Campbell Stewart, he's comfortably in the lead now. Sebastian Mora on 116 points, but then 2 riders tied on third. They'll be both on 114. That's de Wilde and Hansen. Hansen still, though, trying to get to the back of the peloton. If he can get there, throw another 20 points onto the tally.
Gee whiz, what a ride. These Danish riders, and they're taking laps. That's amazing. He won gold in the TP last night too. There he goes, making contact onto the back. That's 20 more points added to his tally.
That'll take him to the outright lead. 4 points ahead of Campbell Stewart. So that is an incredible ride from Tobias Hansen. He was out there on his own for so long. He picked up the 5 points. He's picked up a lap gain as well, and there is 1 sprint still to come. They will be coming around to get 5 laps, and this race is still on. Campbell Stewart, he looked in control. He's now not. He's got a 4-point deficit he has to overcome in this final double-point sprint.
Yep, and the thing is, Hansen's just put in a lot of effort. He's just taking a lap. Campbell Stewart will be feeling a lot fresher, but it still means he still needs to be in those points. So he has to get points in this sprint to take the lead. So if he gets first or second, he will get 10 points or 6 points. And then he's going to have to hope that Hansen won't get points, which judging by the way Hansen looks after taking that lap, it might be hard. But this is not a good situation. There are 3 riders going off the front with 4 laps to go for Campbell Stewart. Campbell needs these points, so he needs to get up the road if he wants to take this gold medal.
Well, as long as these 3 riders stay off the front for the final sprint, they'll be coming around to get 2 this time. That'll take up the 10, the 6 and the 4. There'll only be 2 points on offer. That won't be enough for Campbell Stewart to get the gold medal out of the hands of Mathias Hansen.
Campbell has nothing to lose. He has to go now if he wants to go for this gold medal. But Ollie Wood is going to do it, start the lead out for him. So
here we come around. The 3 riders out in front, fighting for the final sprint. The real race for the medals, though, that's further back behind. It may be too far behind. Hoppazak it is that's leading down the back straight. That's the Mexican rider in second position. So Hoppazak will pick up the 10 points. But the race for the medals, they're coming up to the line now, and no points for Campbell Stewart as they came across the line. So that guarantees the gold medal goes to the man that looks pretty surprised, but he's very happy indeed. Tobias Hansen, hats off. What a ride. Solo lap taken, stealing the gold medal from the big favourites right at the throw.
Wow, that was amazing. It looked like Campbell Stewart had it all under control, but that final lap take and those 5 points right at the end there for Tobias Hansen. 20-year-old, gold yesterday in the team pursuit, bronze in the team pursuit at the 2022 World Championships. This youngster from Denmark, this is a very impressive ride from him.
I think everyone thought Campbell Stewart had it wrapped up. And then Hansen did something spectacular. 134 points, 4-point margin. And you can see how things change when those other riders desperate to pick up points towards the end take up the advantage that Stewart needed. He needed to get either first or second in that final sprint. Actually, third would have been enough.
Yep.
Because he would have been equal points, but got it on, crossing the line ahead of Hansen in that last throw. What a ride. Hats off to the young Dane.
I don't reckon Campbell quite knew. I reckon because he's the type of rider that would have just gone for it. And you could see he came back with so much speed at the end there. So if he had moved just that bit faster and just, as you say, he had to get third. And I think he would have had enough to do that. So this is why these riders do these races. It's a great chance to learn. It's really hard to make these decisions. Like, it's hard enough for us to be sitting here working out mathematics versus those riders who have been out there for 5 races throughout this entire day. That was a 100-lap point score. They're in the red. They've got a big helmet on. They're super hot. They're trying to act under pressure. They're trying to look at the wheels in front of them. And, so it's a challenging thing for these athletes out there. So kudos to all of them.
They really do start to rely on the graphics on the scoreboard and making sure if they're up to date quickly after each sprint and after each lap gain and the points are adjusted, They have to focus on that to see exactly where they stand. It'll be interesting to hear from Campbell Stewart in the next couple of days where he thought he sat coming into that final sprint. But it doesn't matter because this is the man that's going to come away with the gold medal. Tobias Hansen, another superstar Danish track rider on the rise. That was amazing. That was fantastic. Stewart with the silver medal, and of course Sebastian Mora comes away with the bronze. He got himself back after the disastrous elimination onto the podium. Great ride by the Spanish superstar. Vincent Hoppezak, where did he come from? He won the final sprint. He wasn't too far off the podium himself, 116 points. And Lindsay de Vilde, got a feel for him. He came into the final race in the gold medal position and then faded down to 5th place. Let's get down to our new cycling superstar from Denmark, the winner of the Omnium here in Jakarta, Tobias Hansen.